Welcome to Greek Verse a Day. Today we are translating Revelation 2:27. If you look to your Greek Reader's Edition, you're going to see that you get a parsing note for just about every word in this sentence. So that's for the better or for the worse. Revelation has a number of somewhat uncommon words when it comes to the Greek New Testament, and this is a case where we have a whole lot of those in one verse. And the good news is that since you get a note for so many of them in here, in some ways that makes your translation a little bit easier if you are a little bit rusty on your vocabulary. So what we're going to do, as always, is read once slowly, read a second time a little bit faster, give you an opportunity to make some sense of the verse on your own before I jump in and mark the grammar and vocabulary of it. So let's go ahead and start with our slow reading here. Kai poimane autus in rabdo sidera hos ta skue ta keramika sun tribetai. Once more, a little bit faster. Kai poimenai autus in rabdo sidera hos ta skue ta keramika sun tribate. So at this point, go ahead and pause, working from your Reader's Edition, which, as I said, is going to give you lots of parsing notes for this particular verse. See what you can make of it. All right, so here we are continuing on in the sort of adjuration or the blessing or the encouragement for the one who has not followed the teaching of Jezebel, the encouragement that Jesus is giving those individuals within the church at Thyatira. And so here we actually also get a quotation of Psalm 2:9. So John, the author of Revelation, is quoting here, which is another reason that we get some different vocabulary in this verse. Oftentimes, when a verse from the Septuagint, that is the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible or Old Testament, when we have a quotation from the Septuagint, oftentimes we get unfamiliar vocabulary, and that's sort of what's going on here, in combination with Revelation just sometimes having odd vocabulary. So our main verb in this sentence is actually going to come, it's the second word here, poimane, and you get a parsing note for this, that it's a future active indicative, third person singular, and we're missing something that we would normally expect of the future tense. Can you tell me what it is that we're missing that we normally expect with respect to the future tense? That's right, a sigma. We normally expect to see a sigma in the middle of a word as a sign to the future tense, but there's a very good reason that we do not have a sigma in this verb, and it has something to do with a particular letter in this verb. Do you remember why we don't have a sigma in this particular type of verb? Right, again, it is a mineral verb. Remember those verbs whose stem ends in mu, nu, rho, or lambda, what I call mineral verbs, refuse to take a sigma after them, and as a result, we have some lengthening of vowels, and we'll often see a circumflex accent. So that's what's going on here. We have a lengthened vowel. Some contraction has happened because of the sigma dropping out, the nu not allowing the sigma to be next to it. So all that's sort of bonus information because you get from your parsing note anyway that this is a future. So I will shepherd, or you will often see this in translations translated as I will rule. This sort of etymologically, I think shepherd is the better verb here. And I will shepherd them. Autus is our accusative plural object. In rabdo sidera. This is going to be a prepositional phrase in a staff of iron, or an iron staff. So with this phrase right here, rabdo sidera, sidera is an adjective that matches rabdo in case, gender, and number. So rabdo, even though it ends with this omega, it's actually a feminine word. If you were to look it up in your dictionary, you would find that it looks like this, and I'm blanking whether or not this is my right genitive form that follows it. But in any case, the important part is that you would find the definite article hey after it here. And let me just really quickly check in my reader's edition to see if we get a gloss. Yes, so I was incorrect. This is not ace. I was right to second guess myself. We still also have the oo for the genitive. So your form would actually look like this, which you see in the in your reader's edition. And you're given, excuse me, the note in your reader's edition, it says that F in italics after it. And that's indicating that it's a feminine word rather than using the definite article, which most dictionaries or lexicons will do. So in any case, this is a feminine word, which is why sidera with this alpha right here in the dative is also in the feminine, is because it's matching rabdo. It's an attributive adjective. And so we're going to translate it in an iron staff. And so if we were to do it literally, we would do it in a iron staff because we have this preposition in here. But the sense is what is called an instrumental use of this prepositional phrase. You'll also, once we get into the Greek exegesis class, you'll often hear the phrase instrumental dative, the instrumental dative case, where a dative word or phrase shows the instrument by which an action is done. And so what we have is an instrumental use of the prepositional phrase here. I will shepherd them with, or with the instrument of an iron rod here. So this is a really good example of the instrumental use insofar as this is actually an instrument, and a physical instrument one could use, an iron rod. So in any case, moving on, we're going to go on to host, ta, skua. I mean, really this whole phrase, I should say. I'm going to change colors here because we're getting a little bit busy. This whole phrase is going to go together. Host meaning as, and then ta, skua, ta, keramika. Once again, we have an adjectival relationship here. That ta keramika, excuse me, is going to be clay, an adjective meaning clay, and it's going with ta skua, which means vessels. And notice we have our parsing information very clearly given to us in these definite articles here, ta and ta. This could be, so it's a neuter plural, and it can be accusative or it can be nominative. Remember, in the neuter plural, or actually just in the neuter generally speaking, the accusative and the nominative are going to look the same as one another. And in this case, it's actually going to be the nominative, and it's going to be the subject of this verb right here, which you also get a parsing note for in your reader's edition of the Greek New Testament, that this is a present passive indicative, third person singular. Let's see what we get for the gloss here, the definition. Break in pieces. So notice, so break in pieces, and this is going to be our subject. What is broken in pieces? Because this is a passive verb. Remember, passive verbs, the action happens to the subject. So as clay vessels are broken into pieces. And then the tricky thing about this here is that when you look at your parsing note, we said that this is third person singular. So we have a third person singular, but over here we said that this is a neuter plural. So we have a bit of a disconnect between the singular verb and the plural subject. Can you remember why it is that we, or can you explain in your own mind or out loud why we have this disconnect between the plural subject and the singular verb? Excellent memory. It's because a neuter plural subject will often take a singular verb. That's just sort of a phenomenon of ancient Greek. And we do the same thing sort of in English with a neuter or a neutral group of things will often be associated with a singular verb. In any case, let's go back and let's put all of this together here. We have and he will shepherd. I believe earlier I was reverting to the first person. I was saying I will shepherd. I apologize for that. It should be he will shepherd. This is third person singular. He will shepherd them with an iron rod as the clay vessels are broken into pieces.